Next week on Wednesday, October 23rd, Democrat Melinda Katz and Republican Joe Murray will square off in a debate for Queens District Attorney right here in our studios at NY1. Murray is a criminal defense attorney and a former police officer who's running for office for the first time. And he says that he's running to win. Our Juan Manuel Benitez spoke with the Republican nominee, and he joins us now with an evaluation of him. Juan Manuel, very good to see you.
Good to see you too, Errol.
Who is Joe Murray?
So we talked about so much about criminal justice reform, about closing Rikers Island during the primary, the Democratic primary for district attorney, right? So now voters are going to have a Republican candidate who is saying, well, we shouldn't go that far. Let's listen. When asked what he wants to tackle if elected Queens District Attorney, Joe Murray doesn't hesitate.
Corruption. One of the things I want to do is I want to develop something I'm calling my untouchable squad. These are hard, veteran investigators that will answer to me, who will proactively go out and seek out evidence of corruption.
This summer, Queens Borough President Melinda Katz narrowly won a long and drawn-out Democratic primary that was heavily focused on criminal justice reform, including ways to properly close the jail complex on Rikers Island. Her Republican opponent in the general election has a totally different view. Keep it open, he says.
The other cities are looking at us saying, look at these New Yorkers. They have an island where most of their jails are. They want to close it and build jails in the community. It's ridiculous.
Murray is a criminal defense attorney and a former police officer. He says the recent push for reform has led to the NYPD being disrespected in the city. And he disagrees with the firing of Officer Daniel Pantaleo, whose chokehold led to the death of Eric Garner.
Outrageous the way they scapegoated this poor cop. There was no animus or intent to hurt him whatsoever. What happened is a tragedy. That man is gone. He died. And hopefully from that, what I hope comes out of that is don't fight the police.
Murray is a registered Democrat and needed special authorization to run as a Republican. He's also a big supporter of President Donald Trump.
I like him. I like him for the same reason I'm running. He's not a politician. I'm so sick of politicians lying to us.
A spokesperson for Katz's campaign released a statement that says, in part, there's no question that Queens voters reject the racism, lawlessness, and extremism of Donald Trump and his allies, which sadly includes our opponent. Melinda is offering a different view, using the DA's office to deliver justice for victims while reducing crime and protecting everyone's rights. Voters will get to decide this November 5th, Errol.
So, very interesting. So he's a Democrat. Explain for viewers who maybe aren't clear about this. You don't have to be a Republican in this case to be the Republican nominee.
Correct. But you need to get some authorization from the Republican Party. You need what it's called a Wilson Pakula. That's basically a document stating that, well, you're not in our party, but we're going to allow you to run in our column, in our line.
And lest anybody think that there's some funny business, like some kind of deal to sort of put up a fake Republican against her. He sounds like the real thing. If he's pro-Trump,
he does.
He's an ex-cop. He thinks Daniel Pantaleo was, treated unjustly in the Eric Garner case.
That's
sounds
right.
like the real thing.
But that shows you also, Errol, that it's so hard sometimes to recruit Republicans to run for office in a place like New York City with so many Democrats. And that's another thing. It's going to be an uphill battle for him because Melinda Katz right now, I just checked, she has $83,000 left for the general campaign. Joe Murray has $17,000. He has a very little support when it comes to fundraising. I'm sorry, not $17,000. It's $1,700. $1,700 to spend for the general election. So there's not that much support, and it's really hard to run as a Republican in a place also like Queens. You had so many candidates in the Democratic primary, right? And you also found in that Democratic primary some really left-wing progressive candidates and also some extremely conservative Democrats, right? Maybe like Joe Murray or some Democrats who weren't that crazy about the idea of closing Rikers Island. But now you have this candidate who is really trying to appeal to some voters that might feel that things are going too far when it comes to candidates talking about criminal justice reform.
Oh, and interestingly, you know, I think you probably start out with maybe 15 to 20% just for not being an establishment Democratic candidate. So it's not like it's not entirely impossible, but extremely unlikely unless he can get his message out and get some financial support pretty quick, I would think.
That's a problem. His name doesn't have a lot of recognition. It's his first political campaign. And you have Melinda Katz. She was city councilwoman, and then she's been Queensboro president for a long time, for many years. So it's going to be extremely hard for Murray to really make a dent or to really have an impression, or leave an impression in this race.
Okay, he'll get his chance at our debate next week. Thanks very much, Juan Manuel.